today. How the Roman government worked. How the republic worked. But before we do that, we have to look at two different types of groups, classes. Okay, and you learned about it in the video, and that would be the patricians and the plebeians in the Roman Republic. This is how it started. So what's a patrician and what's a plebeian? Tina, nice and loud for me, please. Tina, everybody be ready to read. I'm going to choose you.
I'm ready, sir. So, Roman Republic, the patricians. They're aristocratic landowners who held most of the power. They were powerful, and their power and social status was inherited. The plebeians were common farmers, artisans, and merchants. Majority of the people were plebeians. They had limited power in government. So the tribunes, plebeians representative to the Senate, protected rights of the plebeians from the unfair acts of the patrician officials. There were 12 tablets, an important victory for the plebeians, and all free citizens had the right to protection of the law.
So we're going to learn about that. The tribunes and the 12 tables. We're going to learn about that. So basically, in short, the patricians were aristocratic landowners. They held most of the power. They were the nobles. They were the rich. They held power. Okay. And the plebeians were the commoners, farmers, artisans, merchants. Majority of the people did not have much power. Now, especially early on in the Republic, the patricians had a lot of power, and the plebeians pretty much had none. But within 500 years, that margin or that gap would shrink, and they would become even until there was a civil war between these two groups. Okay, so it was a constant struggle between the patricians and the plebeians. Okay, and in Roman society. Okay, so patricians and plebeians. Later, we're going to talk about these reformers. Tina, who are the Gracchus brothers?
So, attempts at reform. Brothers Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus elected tribunes by plebeian class. They saw a need for reforms on behalf of the poor. They provide land and grain to the poor. They were hated by the wealthy senators, and they were both assassinated.
Good. So when we talk about the fall of the Republic, you have to talk about these reformers, and these are Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus. Okay, they're elected tribunes, and they wanted reform within the Republic. Okay, and eventually they were assassinated. Okay, they were hated by the wealthy, hated by the senators. Okay, so we're going to learn about them. They are the Gracchus brothers. If we take a look at the Roman government, this is a really good visual. This is actually in your textbook as well. It's a really good visual of kind of how the Republic was broken down. You see at the top left here, you have your Senate, which, I mean, was the most important. They really held the most power. The top left. Okay. Senate really means Council of Elders. Okay. And again, their main role was they controlled foreign and domestic policy, and they really made most of the important positions. And it was made up of about 300 men. Okay? That's the Senate. We still have the Senate today. Not quite the same, but they really don't hold too much power in our government. But in Roman times, they really did. They held most of the power. Then you had the consuls, and like you learned, the consul was like the president. Okay, but in the consuls, there were two. They were elected, and they were two, and they kind of switched power, went back and forth, and they could veto each other. So really interesting, right? It's like having two presidents today, or two prime ministers leading the country. So that was the consuls. And then you had underneath them the praetors, censors, the aediles, the quaestors. Now, each of these, they just had different roles, right? Some were responsible for public buildings. Some were responsible for public games. Some were responsible for finances. So basically, it was like certain departments. So underneath the consul, you just had certain departments, and they all had, each department had different responsibilities. Public games, infrastructure of the city, etc. Okay. And then at the bottom, you have your assemblies, right? And this is like the legislative branch. Okay. You have the different assemblies at the bottom, the tribunals. Okay. Okay, here the decisions were made by a majority of the votes. Okay. Were lots of meetings held in these tribunals. We're going to talk about each one, or we're going to learn about each one. So this is basically a visual of how it worked, right? You kind of made your way up. Once you were voted in, you made your way up from quaestor to aedile to censor, and then all the way up to consul, which again, you had to be chosen by the Senate. This is a complicated system, advanced system. Sabrina, can you read for me, please?
Yep. Ancient Rome, examining the Roman Republic. Roman Republic, based on the following image and pictures, list 5 characteristics or themes that would describe the Roman Republic.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Sabrina. I want you to tell me the themes that you see, okay, that would describe the Roman Republic in these pictures, okay?
Okay.
So let me go through them first. Here's one. Here's another. Here's another. Here's another. A Roman Forum. Here's another. So Sabrina, what do you think? What were the common themes in these images?
I don't think I can come up with 5, but I want to say like justice seems to be a really big one. Because like it looks like there's a lot of people and like talking at the forums, and like Caesar's getting stabbed when the senators decided he wasn't fair and just enough. So I would say that's a common thread. I don't know. That's kind of it. I'm sorry.
Good. If we could get more students, if anybody wants to share, you can write it here. What are some of the themes? Okay, in these pictures. Yep.
Sir, I think democracy would be a theme because there was an image of, I think that's the Senate, the image that we just passed by. Yeah, I think that would be the Senate, and it shows like multiple people who are making decisions for the benefit of Rome rather than one superior ruler like a king.
Okay, thank you, Tina. So when we think of Rome, right, like when we think of Greece, we think of democracy, right? Dina, sorry, did you want to share?
Oh yeah, I just.
Yeah. Hello. Okay, so when we think of Greece, we think of democracy. We think of direct democracy, which you would have learned in civics. Here in Rome, we have what's called a republic. Now, it's a little bit different than a democracy. But Sabrina, continue reading. What is a republic? When we think of SPQR, that stands for the Senate and the people of Rome. What does that mean, the republic?
Noun, a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch.
A state in which supreme power, good, is held by the people and their elected representatives. Good.
Roman Republic, 509 BCE. Roman Republic, Res Publica, Republic Matter. SPQR, Senatus, Senatus Populus
Hello? Yep.
Romanus, or the Senate and the people of Rome. Resulted from discontent of the tyrannical Etruscan monarchy, a combination of aristocracy, oligarchy, and democracy.
If you go to Rome, you'll see this all over. It's really cool. Okay, in the sewers, SPQR. In different statues or monuments, SPQR, which represents the Republic. Okay.
What would be the difference between the Senate and the people or the assembly?
Okay, and that's something we kind of already covered, right? The difference between the patricians and the plebeians. Okay, so if you're still not sure, let's go through it again. Sabrina, the difference between the two classes.
Senate and the people of Rome. The internal history of the Roman Republic consisted of constant tension and feuds between the patricians and the plebeians. Patricians, senatorial aristocracy, landowning aristocracy, from the Latin word patris, which means father. Plebeians, people, landless poor, from the Latin word plebs, which means common people.
Good, yes. So throughout this 500 years, it really is this constant tension. That's just it's a great way to put it. Constant tension and feuds between these two classes, which will eventually lead us to a civil war, right? Later on. Here's a really good breakdown. I have my own breakdown for you of the Roman Republic and the roles. Okay, so we'll come back to this. Okay, so just a quick definition of each, please, of the roles in the government. Let's have maybe a different reader. How about David? Nice and loud, David. Good. So this last one here, the plebeian tribal council and tribunes, over time, over the centuries, this would become extremely powerful and rival the power of the consul, okay, and the patricians. So over time, this group became much more powerful, okay, and that's going to lead to problems later, okay. But here are the four most important roles within the republic. Oh, yes, the famous 12 tables. Let's read about this. Roman law. David. Mm-hmm. Good. Rich and poor, freemen and slaves. So again, the 12 tables, written 450 BC in Latin, and went through mostly civil matters. Good. So remember, not quite yet, but there still was significance of Greek culture, okay, which would even be expanded later on. But in terms of education, reading and writing, it was mostly Latin and Greek, okay. And in terms of the gods, we're going to see later that very, very similar to that of Greek mythology, okay, just different names, but very, very similar. So we're going to learn about more of the social and daily life another day. Go ahead. Concrete, yes. What a great achievement. Concrete. Mm. It's funny, when I was younger, I actually had to take Latin. So Latin was very common in school. So not anymore, but used to be. Yeah. Examples of Latin. David, let's see how good your Latin is, okay? Right? Words that we still use today, right? Coming from the Latin origin. I just want to go all the way down here. So usually I will do the rise of the Republic, then talk about the Punic Wars, and then the fall. But I decided I'm going to do the rise and the fall of the Roman Republic, and then we'll learn about the Punic Wars the next lesson. So let's see what happened to the Roman Republic. How did it fall? What happened? Who would like to read the fall of the Republic? Do I have any takers? Who would like to read for me? Tommy? Do you want to read, Tommy?
Oh, okay. Hello, sir.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, fall of the Roman Republic.
Discontent.
Yeah, okay, so discontent with the Roman Republic, widening gap between patricians and plebeians, issue of Roman citizenship in colonies, wealth from wars and expansion made leaders, governors, and generals greedy and dishonest, and it also caused the poor people to want more rights. Several consuls were assassinated and others tried to take position by force, increasing slave rebellions against severe treatment.
Solutions.
Continuous attempts to control tensions and help poor. Gracchus brothers, Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus sought land reforms, proposed free grain and more citizen rights, but both were killed. Reasons for the fall of the Republic: the state's inability to bridge the gap between the rich and poor, lack of effective control of Rome's new found wealth and commercialism, social uprisings of non-Roman Italians over Roman citizenship, military reforms of standing army and legions increased power and influence of Roman generals. Example, Julius Caesar.
Good, thank you. Let me just copy this. Put this here. So reasons for the fall. Again, I have not yet spoke about the Punic Wars, in which Rome was very successful, and it brought about a lot of wealth in and around 200 BC. So again, the state's inability to bridge the gap between rich and poor, lack of effective control of the newfound wealth, social uprisings of many people who were under Roman rule that wanted citizenship. Okay, so just because you were taken over by Rome did not mean you had citizenship. Okay, military reforms of standing armies, right, including who we'll talk about, one of the most famous, Julius Caesar. And you can't forget the role played by Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus. Again, they sought land reform, grain reform, and they were eventually both killed by the Senate. I do have a video. Let me find it, just a short one, of their death. Let's see what happened to them. Of the Gracchus brothers, Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus.
Can you win tomorrow? Well, whether you win or lose, the Senate will never let you get away with it. Why have you done this? Not even my worst enemy has given me so much trouble, so much pain as you. Have you really done this for the good of the people, or for yourself?
I've done it for you.
Citizens, order! Today, we vote on the re-election of Tiberius Gracchus. This election is illegal. Tiberius Gracchus is starting a revolution. We must break up this election. We don't have the right. We can't interfere. No right. What right is he to overthrow us? Lazo, where have you been? I need you, I'll point to my head like this. I have the gravest news for you. At this very moment, Tiberius is proclaiming himself king. He has indicated to his aides to bring the royal crown. Now is the time to act. He wants to be king. King! our duty to the gods, to the people. We must protect the Republic.
There was no funeral for Tiberius Gracchus, no grand orations. His body dumped in the river Tiber. But Tiberius had changed Rome forever. His murder unleashed the power of the mob. It would take 100 years to pull Roman society back together, and a new type of leader, the emperor.
All right, awesome. So, Mr. KD,
Sir, if what happened to his brother?
also murdered, but we will learn about him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because like I only see one brother dead, so I was just confused.
Yeah. Another question.
Oh no, that was me. I accidentally pressed. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna read about both of them. Yes, they were both assassinated. Again, the brothers of Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus. That was Tiberius. So that was, in a very short description, the rise and fall of the Roman Republic. I have here the reading, which is for the Roman Republic for your chapter 8. And I have here too the rise and fall, which are these pages I've listed here, and the Roman government, which are these pages. So I just want you to read these particular pages on the rise and fall of Rome. Okay, let me post it right here. You're going to do that for me later. So you can see here, let's take a look again at the Roman government. So again, this is what you're going to be focusing on now. So you'll see there's different, I'll say departments, wasn't really called that then, but different roles. So you have the Senate, then you have the consuls, the praetors, the censors, the aediles, and the quaestors. And then underneath here, you have the 4 houses. These are the assemblies, okay? These are the assemblies. And then over here, you have the 2 tribunals of the plebeians. Okay. Now, what I have for you, which you can see here is your worksheet. It's this one. I made a chart, which can be downloaded for each of them. Okay, and you can see the number, the term, and their duties. So here's a Roman Republic chart organizer for each. And then I have a list of 4 questions about what happened in the Republic. Tiberius Gracchus, the decline of the Republic, the civil war created by 2 men, Marius and Sulla, which you're going to read about, and the reforms of the army. So these are 4 questions I have, including the chart. Okay. Now, I've done a lot of work here on this. So if you see here this class notes, Roman Republic class notes, if you open this, I've already done a lot of the, breaking down for you. So I go through each one, first with the consuls and everything you need to know about the consuls. And then I have each one. So you could see here the praetors, roughly 4 to 8. Their role was the administration of justice. Okay, so they oversaw the judicial system in Rome. Censors, their responsibility was registration, or the registrar of Rome. Okay. They revised lists of senators, registered all Roman citizens and property. That was their role, registration. You had the aediles, which they were responsible for public works in Rome, temples, markets, okay, games, etc., festivals and games. Okay. 4 of them. You had the quaestors. They were responsible for treasury, military aid, and consuls. Okay. And the last one, which is the tribunes, the plebeian class. Okay. So I go through each of them, and the assemblies as well, and the Senate. Okay. So all the information you have is really on this sheet. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through that, and you're going to put it into your chart the best you can. Okay. So it's nice and easy for you to remember each of these roles. Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yep, very.
Okay, and then thank you. And then for the 4 questions, see these 4 questions reflect this. You can find in your reading here in these pages. Okay. I just selected a few pages, so the reading's not too long. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for me now. But before I do let you go, I do want to show you this because this is really good too. I just want to show you one more 5-minute video, and then I'll let you get to work. These are really good.
When the Romans overthrew their Etruscan rulers in the year 509 BCE, they weren't just changing their political status. They were establishing a form of government that would influence politics for thousands of years to come. Upon freeing themselves from the conquering Etruscans of the north, the Romans formed a republic, a system of government in which citizens choose representatives to govern on their behalf. With this, they established a governmental system which was a precursor to many in our modern-day world. To understand the political structure of the Roman Republic, we must first understand the importance of social class. The natural-born inhabitants of the Republic, who were not slaves, were broken into 2 main groups. They were the patricians, members of the upper class, including the nobility and wealthy landowners, and the plebeians, or the common people of Rome. Unlike today's society, where people can move up and down the social ladder, the patricians and plebeians of Rome were completely separate and distinct. Intermarriage between the classes was forbidden. Making these social classes even more of a dividing line, whether a man was a patrician or a plebeian, dictated what position he could hold within the beginning political structure of the Republic. If a man was a patrician, he could hold the highest position in government, known as consul. Since this position oversaw the workings of the government and its officials, while also being the commander of the army outside the city of Rome, we can draw some loose parallels to it and the American presidency. However, unlike the presidency, 2 patrician men ruled as consul. They had the power to veto one another and were limited to a 1-year term. In times of crisis, and in order to make swift, concise decisions, one man could be elevated to dictator over the Republic. Trying to make sure the patricians could keep control, the consuls were elected from the Senate, a group of 300 patricians who were in essence the lawmakers of Rome. They made decisions on spending while also controlling taxation and relationships with foreign powers. Again, we can loosely compare the Roman Senate to the legislative branch of the American government. However, there are some major differences. Perhaps most obvious, the senators of Rome were not chosen by the citizens. They were chosen by the consul, and they were elected for life. The last governing body of the Roman Republic was the Assembly. The Assembly allowed plebeians or common citizens into its membership. Like the First Amendment right to assemble, the Assembly had the right to assemble in the Forum, or the marketplace and business center of Rome. Fortunately for the assembly, they had one ace up their sleeve. As the Republic aged, they were in charge of choosing the consul. Yes, the consuls were elected from the Senate, but not by the Senate. The honor of choosing went to the assembly. Since the assembly chose the consuls, any senator hoping to gain the highest position in government needed to win the favor of the assembly. Just imagine a wealthy patrician courting a common plebeian. This setup allowed the wealthier plebeians who were not patricians, no matter how much money they made, to wield substantial power. It was politics at its best. With this setup, it's not hard to imagine why the assembly gained power. They were also given the right to elect tribunes, a position which acted very much like a president of the plebeians. The man holding this position had the right to intervene on legal matters and veto legislation. He also held the right to summon the Senate, even making proposals for their consideration. Between 449 and 450 BCE, the plebeians of Rome gained another victory through the Law of the 12 Tables. These were a code of laws which spelled out civil matters, crime and punishment, and relationships among citizens and family members. Most important about these new laws, both patricians and plebeians were bound by them. Soon following the Law of the 12 Tables, the assembly had gained such power that plebeians were given the right to marry patricians, and even a plebeian could be consul. Ironically, the growing power of the assembly would be blamed for the fall of the Republic. With this, we come to the end of our discussion on the political structure of the Roman Republic, a governmental system which was a precursor to many in our modern-day world. In studying this, it's important to remember that social class played a huge role in the Republic's beginnings. Whether a person was a wealthy patrician or a common plebeian decided what role he could play in government. Although the roles changed as the Republic aged, at the top of the Roman Republic were the consuls, who oversaw the workings of the government and its officials, while also being the commanders of the army outside the city of Rome. Next, there was the Senate, which made decisions on spending while also controlling taxation and relationships with foreign powers. Last, there was the Assembly, which included the plebeians of Rome and worked to continually change the roles and rights of the common man.
Okay. So, I think I've done all I can here to get you going. So that's what you're going to work on for me right now. That is one, the chart organizer, and then two, I believe I have 4 reflection questions. Okay. So the sheet is called Roman Republic Chart. Find that and you can start. Okay, that's what you're going to do for me now. I'll create a Dropbox a little bit later. Okay, so do what you can today. Yeah. Any questions?
Sir, in regard to our midterms, will we be receiving that like later on tonight?
You're going to receive it at some point today. Yeah, maybe around 3 o'clock, between 3 and 5. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. Again, I'm going to send you a private message under the CPT private message there. Okay.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, guys. If there's no further questions, you can get to work.